It's the headphones. Look, the headphones sit perfectly on there. Okay, that's just where that's where my ears are, bro. No cap. Like, I'm telling you, it's...
What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be reacting to Trainwrecks TV Bald in all caps, bro. This is something I was tagged in by a few people. They sent it to me over DMs and whatnot, and it seems like there's a lot of big streamers with hair loss issues lately. We have Asmon Gold. A bunch of people have been sending me his stuff too and telling me to make a meathead chemist, hair loss prevention stack for him. There was the Hassan Abbey hair loss thing. Fucking hilarious, dude, by the way. If you haven't seen the Hassan video, I think it was like with Austin or something. I forget who it was, but that video, pretty fucking funny in my opinion, like decently informative. And then we have Trainwrecks TV. All the biggest streamers, are talking about their hair loss at some point, it seems like. And let's see what he says.
It's the headphones. Look, the headphones sit perfectly on there. Okay, that's just where that's where my ears are, bro. No cap. Like, I'm telling you, it's...
Jesus fuck. Let's go back. That was a perfect fucking face, dude. Let's see.
It's Guys, I'm telling you, it was the headphones. No cap, it was the headphones. I'm serious. Look, I showered, it's fucking gone. As soon as I put the headphones back on, it comes back. I'm telling you. Look. Yeah.
Okay, so like one thing I can say for certain, this is something I experienced too, and I'm sure streamers to an even more ridiculous extent, is over the subsequent days of filming in a row, you start to get sebum build up and your hair gets a lot more greasy. Like when you come out of the shower, you have perfectly clean hair, and when it dries, it's nice and fluffy and it looks a lot more thick. And then as you let sebum build up, if you don't shower your hair on a daily basis, like not everyone, or you apply topicals too for hair loss prevention, you can end up with very, very greasy follicles that look much thinner. And like even for me, on multiple days of filming, if I'm putting in topicals and I'm not like washing my hair as regularly as I otherwise should to have it look like primed, and you can get this shit built up quite quick when you're applying like fucking propylene glycol into your hair with topicals. You end up with very, very thin looking zones like on top. You start to end up with areas that when you're wearing headphones, especially when you have like greasy areas on your head, you'll have like a giant bald spot in a spot that otherwise would look totally fine if your hair was like clean washed and like blow dried. So I'm assuming that's what's going on with him, but let's see what he says.
It was the headphones. Trust me, my hair was greasy and I was parting easily. Trust. I showered, look, it's gone. When I get a haircut, you'll see too.
Like mine even right now is probably like that to some extent. Like I need to have a fucking shower, but I'm here filming because I need to get videos done. And when I have, a certain amount of time is banked up of just like fucking sebum buildup, it starts to look worse and worse and worse to a point that it looks like you've lost like fucking 30% density just from, the couple days of not having a good shower, or a couple days of, like built up fucking, like topicals in your hair that are making it look thinner. Like propylene glycol is one of the most notorious things for mixing topicals that makes your hair look absolutely dog shit. And that's why a lot of minoxidil preparations, if you apply it like a Kirkland brand, for example, looks like your hair's a greasy mess, a fucking disaster after you apply it, versus others that are more like ethanol based or less problematic in the greasiness category are going to make your hair look much better than otherwise. But obviously topicals in general, plus, not having a fresh shower before that streaming session or, filming in general, like in my case, is going to make it look fucking worse. Well, let's continue.
Once I get a haircut, you'll see. When anyone's hair is greasy, it becomes thin and fine because they all clump together. The headphones parted aside. I'm telling you right now. Listen, there is a reason why, if you look at the old me at Nick Paulum's house, back when I was living in their apartment, when I put my head down, there was the same exact thing near my headphone thing. I'm telling you, it's the headphones. Do I have like minor hair loss? 100% I do.
Yeah. So like exactly what he's saying. Like for example, like for me too, I have hair loss that is I could otherwise be using a much more comprehensive protocol to try and get it back. But for me, even like I film so fucking much now that even my topicals regimen, I've actually been off of it for quite a while just because the cumulative time it takes me to fucking, apply topical, shower, apply the topicals to a clean scalp at night, wake up, have a bunch of shit in my hair, clean it out again potentially to wash it out so I can prime it to then do filming, and then have to wash it out before applying the topicals again. Like, it's time consuming, bro, Like, you can't really film and look like decent when you have a fuck ton of propylene glycol on your hair. So, like, for me, I've actually been off my regimen for a while. I think it has actually definitely hindered me to some extent too, and I want to get back on it. Now, when I say my regimen, I mean my topicals. I'm still using oral finasteride, but I do have like my compounding pharmacy prepared, tretinoin plus minoxidil preparation. I've been wanting to start that for a while, and the microneedling, it's very problematic to be filming with a super irritated red goddamn head for a few days a week when you are filming multiple videos a day. So for him, when this guy's streaming on a daily basis, I'm not surprised that he ends up in a situation where his, scalp gets a bit greasy, and then, maybe he uses topicals too, and then he ends up in a position where he has like a bad shot, and boom, he has some parting, some greasiness, and it looks worse than usual. I'm sure he's in a somewhat of a similar boat to me in that regard, where you have certain days your hair looks way fucking better than others, and it kind of depends on like how recently you showered, how primed you fucking got it with, blow drying or not blow drying, or what kind of hair products you're using and stuff, or how long it's been and / how much sebum has accumulated.
Was I supposed to lose my hair at 18? Yes, 100%. Do the headphones make it worse? Yes, you can Google it. But is it nearly as bad as it looked yesterday? No. That was the worst case scenario. Hair greasy, headphones parting it. Trust me on this. Look, there is for sure thinning. Look, even if I part it, can you see some thinning? For sure. But it's nowhere near as bad as it looked yesterday. There's no, I know my hair. I look at it every day. I literally look at it every day. Is there thinning going on in the crown area? 180% yes. But was it anywhere near what it looked like yesterday with the light shining down? Listen, y'all have seen people go to the gym. The lighting can make them look bigger than they actually are. The same way with your hair loss. If you part it, your hair's greasy, headphones are moving it aside, and the light's directly shining on it, it's gonna look crazy. I'm telling you. Nonetheless, I'm gonna definitely start using Rogaine because I don't think Propecia is enough. Propecia just keeps what you have.
Yeah, this is pretty good summary here. He's mentioning how finasteride, 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, is going to prevent further miniaturization. Not for everyone, but for a lot of people, it will be more than sufficient for the androgen vector. However, it does absolutely nothing to help with regrowth necessarily. You might get some minor regrowth with it. Some people get a reasonable return of density just by offsetting the miniaturization process and kind of restoring a more favorable kind of like hair life cycle. Especially duration of the anagen phase and whatnot for hairs that were otherwise, set to be, in self-destruct mode essentially. But it's not a very potent hair growth stimulant. So something like minoxidil, whether it works through, well, it's kind of unknown exactly how it works, but it's a very potent growth stimulant that was, repurposed as a vasodilating, like blood pressure lowering medication that they found induced significant amounts of hypertrichosis in people who used it. And as a consequence of that, they were like, oh, maybe we can get a localized effect on the scalp. And people have even, discovered you can get a localized effect on your beard when you use it. When you microneedle and apply it on your beard too. Like, you can take a fucking guy with a bare goddamn, almost no facial hair whatsoever and bring them to pretty decent territory as far as having a full-grown beard. Now, is this going to be something that will get you back to baseline, 17-year-old model status, perfect Norwood Zero hairline? Probably not. But again, it depends on how early you address this stuff, how proactive you are. Because again, the earlier you get ahead of this shit, the better when it comes to hair loss. This stuff it's very hard to regain lost ground. It's pretty easy to prevent the loss though, unless you have aggressive androgenic alopecia. But preventing loss versus trying to regain ground is always significantly easier. And ultimately, if you're not doing something to deal with androgens like finasteride, or a topical anti-androgen like CB or RU, or ideally using both concurrently if you wanted to get more comprehensive protection from DHT and the subsequent spike in scalp testosterone, you're only preventing further loss. So if you're down to like a Norwood 2, a Norwood 3, like whatever the fuck it is, and you start using this stuff, are you going to get back to Norwood 0 dense ass territory? Probably not. And that's why, individuals who do this shit oftentimes don't get back to baseline without using growth stimulants on top or getting, like a transplant touch up or something. It's very rare you see an individual get on like just a anti-androgen topically or a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor and get back to total baseline. Now, again, some people are very lucky and they respond super well and they can get pretty fucking close, or at least reasonable enough where you don't even notice really that they have significant androgenic alopecia. Because again, you don't really notice a loss until you've lost 20 to 30% of your hair follicles. And when I say lost, I mean like miniaturized them. And that's when you start to see visual representations of loss in the mirror that you otherwise are like, oh, you didn't notice before. And you just notice it one day randomly under shitty downlighting. You're like, why can I see my scalp all of a sudden? You start noticing recession in pictures. You're like, what the fuck? You have this moment of clarity one day, but you don't realize all the years you've been slowly progressing to this point as a result of androgens. So again, the androgen equation is ultimately the first thing to address. Otherwise, you're just fighting a uphill battle. And I always describe this as like the stream current. If you're in a fucking canoe and you're trying to go up a stream, you not dealing with androgens, with finasteride, dutasteride, topical anti-androgens, whatever it is, you're basically, if you're using minoxidil without those things, you're basically trying to stimulate growth against the stream. You're trying to row up a stream with a current against you. Using finasteride or dutasteride concurrently, potentially, with CB, RU, whatever your preferred topical anti-androgen is, Floridil, that is what gets the stream like calm. That's what gets it to baseline to 0, where you don't have to worry about working uphill. And then you add the growth stimulants on top, the minoxidil, the tretinoin enhanced minoxidil for enhancing sulfonyluretransferase enzyme activity, the microneedling for enhanced absorption and, potentially doubling your minoxidil results. That kind of shit will make a huge fucking difference once you've gotten the androgen equation kind of dealt with, attenuate the further damaging of it, and then push the growth vector.
Rogaine actually grows a little bit, or so they say it does. So nonetheless, I'm going to start it. I think it's a good wake-up call nonetheless, because my headphones do sit on that part of my head. And I think that part of if you saw yesterday in the light, the rest of my scalp was normal color, but that part was red. So I think there's definitely some irritation going on there, right? Which causes hair loss in itself. So I definitely got to start the Rogaine a little bit and see what's good. Get a hair transplant? Yeah, but hair transplants freak me out. I can't explain it. They give me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, so if you're going to be doing minoxidil, again, it's ultimately going to boil down to your sulfonyluretransferase enzyme activity in the scalp to determine if you're a responder or a non-responder. And you have to keep in mind, when it comes to minoxidil, the likelihood that you're a non-responder is pretty fucking high, unfortunately. There are a significant amount of individuals who get absolutely nothing out of the drug, and it's a result of a lack of sufficient enzymatic conversion from the base minoxidil molecule to the active minoxidil sulfate that actually has pharmacologic activity in the scalp for stimulating hair growth. So again, is there anything you can be doing with the minoxidil to ensure or at least significantly enhance the likelihood of success? Yeah, it's using, compounding it with tretinoin at a reasonable dose that's non-irritating. I'm not saying you need to do this. I'm just saying it's going to likely increase the probability of it working, or using things like a microneedling device, once a week, 1.5 millimeter depth, something I've talked about many times. Again, is this something that's going to be required? Not necessarily, but the clinical evidence supporting its efficacy is quite fucking promising. And a lot of individuals that have been non-responders to minoxidil have added, these two things in and seen significant changes in an otherwise unresponsive scalp environment previously. Whether that just boils down to lack of proper absorption, lack of sulfonyluretransferase enzyme activity, ultimately, you can do whatever you can do to try and increase your likelihood of things going well. And if you're a good responder, I've seen some pretty fucking drastic transformations from minoxidil, ones that are so good that it's I literally have these bottles in my fucking kitchen over here, ready to use, of minoxidil compounded with tretinoin, and I have my Derminator 2 ready to go too. For me, the only thing that's been holding me back at this point is the fact that I film on a daily basis, and I don't want to show up with a fucking inflamed scalp from microneedling for half the week, as well as have my hair greasy as fuck from minoxidil applications with my RU. So I'd love to get back on it. I think I just need to dial in my routine, because ultimately I've been a bit disorganized over the past few months, just grinding out fucking content, overseeing my businesses and whatnot, Gorilla Mind, Merrick Health, etc. And I gotta get back on it. I really do. I want to get back on it, and I want to get as close to a baseline as I can before I go down, the transplant route. So that's where I'm at, and it seems like he might be in a similar situation, in terms of just using both on just 5-alpha reductase inhibitors right now, and potentially, losing a bit of ground, but maybe in a good spot to, really take advantage of trying a growth stimulant properly at this point. So it should be interesting to see where he goes with it. But those are my suggestions to him if you end up watching this dude. If you want to significantly enhance the likelihood of it working, or enhance its ability to work so substantially that it may even double your results, those are some very basic things you can add into your protocol to enhance the growth stimulating properties of it. Like if you haven't seen my videos on minoxidil plus microneedling, the difference it can make, minoxidil plus tretinoin, go check those out. I have an elaborate hair loss prevention playlist that has a deep dive explanation of how all this shit works and why it's promising. So check that out. But anyway, let's continue.
I don't know why. It feels...
I noticed, by the way, in the chat, somebody said it's from the Adderall no cap. Dopaminergic drugs, heavy stimulants, do, in my opinion, have an effect on the hair cycle and can actually fuck it up, as well as having horrible circadian rhythms. That is something I do see as problematic and worth addressing. I don't think that heavy-duty stimulant use and having a dysregulated circadian rhythm is conducive to a healthy hair follicle life cycle. So that is something to potentially evaluate too. That is kind of outside the androgen vector and may even have a significant role on concentrations of, I don't know, DHT conversion in the scalp maybe? Who the fuck knows?
It looks weird. I'm probably gonna have to eventually get it, but I'm gonna stay away from it as long as possible because it really gives me the creeps. The fact that you pull hair from the sides and you plant it on the top, just something very it's just something very weird. I can't explain it. It just seems so, I can't explain it. It gives me the creeps. It really gives me the creeps. I don't like it. They saved LeBron's hair. Yeah, eventually I'm probably going to have to do that, right? If you look at my hair, knock on wood, my hair is pretty thick. Look at this. If I was losing my hair, this motherfucker would be full. Have you seen people with hair loss? It's fucking bad. I'm telling you, bro, no cap. Use Greek's belly hair. I'd rather go bald. I'd rather go bald 10 years ago than use Greek's belly hair. That's disgusting. Maybe you got trypophobia? What is that? Trypophobia is an aversion to the set of irregular patterns of clusters of small holes or bumps. It is not officially recognized as a mental disorder, but may be diagnosed as a specific phobia if excessive fear and distress occurs. What? I don't know what the fuck that is, bro. Google image it. Okay, real post tab images. No! You guys are sick motherfuckers, bro. Y'all are sick. That shit ain't real, bro. No shot. That shit ain't real, bro. What is this? Straight out fucking Captain Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean, the one guy with the octopus on his head? No fucking shot, buddy. No fucking shot. What's that dude's name with the octopus on his head? What's that dude? Captain Beer Belly? Captain Barnacle? What's his name? No, it's not Davy Jones. It's not Davy Jones. It's that one guy. The Dutchman. No. No, it's not Squidward. No, not Barbosa. Wait, is Davy Jones really the one with the Captain Davy Jones?
Oh, yeah, let's see.
Tell me you don't see it. Okay, I appreciate everything you do.
Yeah.
Just know your position in the house is not to clean at all. I will do some cleaning. The amount of coke you would advise to do every 7 days in order to not get heavily addicted. With my mom, and I saw him. Logical reasoning, you must be on cocaine. Everything's a game, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about a game. I'm talking. This is the smartest thing I have said. Listen, no one's gonna understand this until 500 years goes by. And I'm telling you, I invented this. I said this 5 months ago, and I better get credit for it in 10 years. People are preaching socialism as a form of capitalism.
Yeah, I think that's it for the hair stuff, probably. But should be interesting to see what happens with this Rogaine progression. If you do end up going on it, bro, I would recommend avoiding the Kirkland brand. Get a fast-drying minoxidil preparation. It's definitely worth the extra money. I'll drop my preferred brand that's fast-drying in the video description below. But you can check out even the Rogaine branded foam. You can melt that down into a liquid and make it. It's pretty fucking good. There are a lot of different, you can just get that from Costco probably. There are a lot of brands that are decent. Just stay the fuck away from the generic cheap Kirkland stuff unless you're on a budget. Stuff works. It's the exact same potency. It just makes your hair look like absolute dog shit, unfortunately. And there are certain brands that do make your hair look greasier than others. And that's been, my aversion to it in the past. And ultimately why I waited so long to do it. And then now, with filming on a daily basis, it's just been fuck, do I want to have to, like restyle my hair when I wake up, shower, fucking RU and Minoxidil out of my head, all this propylene glycol and whatnot, and then, restyle and then film and then fucking wash it out and apply stuff. It's just been a hassle. But obviously, you got to make it fit your schedule if you want to get results. So if you want to maximize the results of your growth stimulant, I would definitely recommend looking at the microneedling, perhaps tretinoin as well. And yeah, that would be my suggestion. So should be interesting to see his progress if he makes significant, gets significant ground back, and what happens over the coming months. So anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All the comments help the algorithm. They're much appreciated. What were your results like adding in minoxidil on top of finasteride after, multiple years of finasteride? How many of you guys added in the growth stimulant like much later? And when you did, what were your growth results like? And then did you also have a phase after that where you added in tretinoin and or microneedling? What were your results with that? Or have you tried higher concentrations of minoxidil or switched from topical minoxidil plus microneedling and tretinoin to an oral preparation of minoxidil? And what was your results with that? All of the kind of like feedback in my comment sections are actually very much appreciated. Not even just for my own personal like anecdotes and kind of reference points for my own personal shit, but people learn from these kind of like unique videos. Like not many people talk about this kind of stuff. Not many people talk about unique treatment options, like cutting edge science when it comes to enhancing sulfosyltransferase enzyme activity and whatnot. Like usually that's found in really obscure literature that then gets like parsed out by like basically hair loss YouTubers, and that's pretty much it. But that kind of shit, like having anecdotes of like certain response to like low dose oral minoxidil versus topical and what happened when you try to enhance, sulfosyltransferase enzyme expression, like that kind of shit is like gold to have in the comment section. So for everyone's, reference point, any kind of experiences that are worthwhile that you feel are relatable to what we just talked about, please drop them in the comments down below. All much appreciated. It helps stimulate the algorithm as well, obviously. Like how I said, stimulate, just because I've been talking about growth stimulants for so fucking long at this point. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. I recommended ketoconazole shampoo, mild anti-androgen that can be used as a kind of like a first line treatment, although ultimately using a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor and or a topical anti-androgen, are the needle movers in that equation, but it's certainly worth having in your arsenal, in my opinion, because you're gonna be using a high quality shampoo anyways, ideally, and having one that doesn't dry the fuck out of your hair like Nizoral is definitely recommended. Having a fast drying minoxidil preparation as well. You can check that out in the video description, my recommended one. My microneedling device, I used when I, had time for it. Wasn't filming like 2 videos a day, but I will ultimately be using again once I can get around to fitting it into my schedule and making it work, as well as my HRT clinic. If you're looking for novel preparations of hair loss meds and getting prescribed finasteride or, other medications that could be useful for your battle against the fucking Norwood Reaper, you can check it out in the video description below, as well as anything else I'm associated with that helps support me and the channel. It is all down there. Clothing company that sponsored me, Gorilla Mind, nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode pre-workout formulas, design myself from scratch. Anything else I'm associated with, it is all in the video description below. And speaking of which, I see a G Fuel ad up in the top corner. Gorilla Mode Energy plus Gorilla Mind Smooth, the G Fuel killer, completely shit on G Fuel. Go check out my G Fuel video for a scientific dismantling of that product and see why we are the superior option for somebody who is serious about getting cognitive enhancing outcomes during a gaming session. Check it out. All help support me, help support the brand. Much appreciated. Talk to you guys soon.